Welcome to Suburban Warrior, the podcast that will impact, inspire, and empower you to transform your mindset and become the badass warrior that you are. I'm your host and fellow warrior, Chrissy Pfeiffer, former clinician and corporate marketing exec turned multi-passionate entrepreneur, performance and life coach, and mom to 4 not-so-little warriors. Each week, I will bring you honest conversations with inspiring guests to share their stories of resilience, optimism, success, and simple yet effective strategies so that you transform your thoughts and change your behavior to get the results you want in your life. You will be empowered to take action, warrior up, and believe in you. Let's do this. What's up, warriors? Welcome back to another episode of Suburban Warrior. I am thrilled to be back. It's been a while, and I can't wait to share a whole another season of amazing warrior stories with you. We have some amazing suburban warriors lined up to share their stories with you. And I am thrilled about our first suburban warrior. Her name is Amy Hudgens, and she is the founder of the Nourished Girls Project. She's also a board-certified nutrition consultant, wellness coach, author, speaker, educator, and visionary. Over the past 10 years, Amy has shown hundreds of women how to make nourishment simple for their families and themselves. Amy has a BA in Women's and Gender Studies from Sonoma State University. She has also worked in women's health for over a decade, supporting and advocating for women's and girls' health care services. Amy also has a special interest in optimizing brain health and empowering emotional wellness. That is definitely a subject near and dear to my heart, that is for sure. She is a true visionary, pioneering the Nourished Girls Project with a vision to inspire and empower pre-adolescent and adolescent girls to live their joy, dream big, and be kindness activists, changing the world by learning how to be kind to themselves and others. Her main muse is her inspiration, her 11-year-old daughter, Nylah. Wow, what an awesome bio. Welcome to the podcast, Amy.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here today.
Oh my gosh. I mean, just in reading your bio, there's so many parts of that I just want to dive into because I mean, we could have whole podcasts on all of these different subjects that you've been a part of throughout the course of your life. Women and girls healthcare services, talking about nourishing, our daughters and our families as much as we nourish ourselves. And then, pre-adolescent and adolescent girls. I mean, that's definitely another whole podcast, having 3 daughters that pretty much, have either fall into that category now or have. So let's first start. Why don't you start by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. Well, again, thank you for having me. And I agree, we could really go at all directions, right? So I'm just glad to be here today. And you said quite a lot about about me and myself, but I'd like to just say that I am the founder of the Nourished Girls Project, and I live in Northern California with my husband, Mike, and my daughter, Nylah. And I just feel so passionate about, this Nourished Girls Project and really empowering and inspiring preteen and teen girls to live their joy and just, dream big. I think especially now with everything that's going on in the world is a little different. So, I'm very passionate about that. And like you said, over years, really been working with tons of busy moms. I know, because I'm a busy mom, to really break it down and make nourishment simple. And I work with girls on making nourishment simple and also with moms. And ultimately to just have this ripple effect in the world of inspiration, joy, hope, all of it. And I especially think right now is a time that's really needed for that.
Absolutely. Well, I love that you have taken on, nourishment, nourishment of our souls, of our minds, and of our bodies. And you've sort of brought it to a whole new level and have really directed your focus specifically on that. And, I know for myself, it is almost a daily struggle thinking about what I'm going to make for dinner for my family. And it's not just dinner. I mean, it is now with the pandemic, it's been all the meals, right? Because we're all home. And, it sounds silly, but it is a daily struggle because for myself, I've actually drastically have changed the way that I eat over the last several years. I'm gluten-free, I'm dairy-free, I'm really whole food based. So I have drastically changed my diet personally just so that I feel better. But with 4 kids and almost all of them being teenagers now, ranging from, 12 to 20, and watching them eat, it's a challenge because they want to eat the pantry foods. Okay. I mean, they're kids, of course, but I also want to cook really healthy meals for them, and it's challenging. Yeah. So tell me about why you got so passionate about starting the Nourished Girls Project, or what led you to it.
Yeah. So it's such a long story, but I can tell you a couple little things. Just hearing you talk reminded me of when I really started my nutrition business. It was because all the mom friends in the groups I was going to, the mommy and me stuff, was like asking the same things. Like, oh my gosh, I'm feeling drained. I'm depleted. Like, how can I get, some nourishment in myself quickly? And that's like nutrient dense.
Right.
And so we started having I started hosting groups. They would come over and we would make immune broth and little protein balls and all of these things. And that started off my work really with knowing, okay, there's more here. Like, how can we make this really simple? And so I do that across the board when I work with private clients, my mom clients, my family clients, is really about, like you're saying, not just about the dinner. It's about all right, how can we simplify this? And so I'm happy to give a couple tips with that too, as far as 1 or 2 things that you can seriously ground into that, I'll use the avocado. Okay, let's talk an avocado. It has fiber. It has fats. It is a big, it's not something light. You know what I mean? And it can fill you up. So I think it's finding 1 or 2 things, could be something else there that can really, you can just kind of go, all right, if I have that, I'm a little more grounded into that, if that makes sense. And then I also talk a lot about anchors. They're kind of like habits, just even if it's go to bed 15 minutes early, or, take 2 minutes extra time in the shower. So my superpower really is about simplifying it down to not the big to-do list, but the 1 anchor and maybe 1 or 2, types of foods, And so go ahead if you want to ask anything.
No. I love everything you're saying and where you're going with this. So I was just going to ask, the avocado is a great example, but I was going to ask, is there something that you can tell us? How do we simplify it on a daily basis? One example, or what is 1 anchor? What is 1 habit that you suggest that we could change to just make it feel easier?
Yeah. And I think that's so individual, but I could give a general one. A general one could be make movement fun. Okay. So you could do that for us grown-ups, and also talk about it with, our girls, our kids. It could be a 5-minute movement, jump roping, dancing, singing. That's another thing that's very lacking in general, but right now is more laughter, more joy. So it's the moments. So I think 1 tip is really about the moment, not getting caught up in the to-dos and so much, but just the moment. I mean, there's so much, obviously if I'm working with someone, it's all right, tell me your day, what's going on. But the moment, the moment of joy, the, making movement fun, and really checking in with yourself and your, let's say, I'm talking a lot about preteens and teens. How's their energy bank? Having them say, all right, did I get sleep? Have I ate a lot of sugar? Just reverse engineering, how they can feel nourished. And then by asking those questions and in conversation, it starts to come out what their anchors could be. Did that make sense? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, it makes a ton of sense. I think That's really great advice. I know personally throughout this pandemic, I have really been focusing on trying my best and using all of my strategies to be present and to be in the moment. We have a house full of people. Life is a little different than it used to be. It can be frustrating and overwhelming at times and scary, but trying to be in the moment, practice gratitude. And I love the idea about fun movement because, some of the sports have been canceled and the kids aren't as active as they were and they're sitting on screens. And sometimes before you know it, the whole day could pass by and you're like, oh my gosh, we haven't even been outside or done anything.
Right.
So
totally. Or you're like, have I drank water?
Right.
It's just a whole nother, it's a whole different setup right now. And so I think you're so right. Like it just, I get it. You know what I mean? And sometimes there's going to be the days, but if you have these anchors and a couple different things that are your go-tos, simple, not, all right, I'm going to be inspired and make the list. You know what I mean? It's more just a couple things and asking the questions and really being in curious conversation with yourself.
Yeah.
And let's say, in my case, my preteen Nylah, of noticing, all right, not come out of a place of like, I noticed that you're a little stressed today or whatever, but more like, what are the things that are the joy generators for you? You know what I mean? And it sounds simple because it is, but when you get lost in the day of so much going on and so many things to juggle, it can be a little bit tricky to feel nourished.
Yes.
Especially in a simple way.
Yeah. And I love, something that you mentioned earlier. It's almost about being more conscious about the things that we used to do subconsciously, like, movement for one. Like I was trying to explain to my daughters, like earlier on when they were home, when everything first started, like you have to leave your room and just get outside and walk around because you're used to walking around a school campus, having steps in your day, walking to the bus stop, and now you're rolling out of bed and going onto your computer. And just that simple, they don't think about that. But I, as a parent, think about that. And I know how important it is for their mental health, not just their physical health, but their mental health and their emotional well-being to get out of their rooms and have some movement or do something. But those are things that subconsciously we didn't really have to think about before. And now I feel like just with this new world that we're living in, we have to be a little bit more conscious about what we're doing, what we're eating, how we're moving, and what our routine looks like. So to your point, creating new anchors that we can have throughout our day.
Absolutely. It's exactly right. And sometimes it's choosing again, very frequently, because things are going to present. Things are going to happen. You're going to have your, that's why I think it's just breaking it down to those couple of things. You know what I mean? And also talking a little bit more about what's inspiring you. And that's kind of a funny question. And this can bring us into the Nourished Girls Project, whatever you'd like to talk about, but is really, you can ask maybe your teen that and they're like, I don't know what, who knows, but it's kind of like, it could be anything, it's getting at that nugget, because what I have found, even when we just hosted a summer camp, a global summer camp over the summer, it was virtual. And there was over 200 girls that attended from all over the world. And they were just hungry for being in community, collaborating, seeing other girls and having this space to just kind of be an inspiration. And we had so many girls reach out and their moms are like, wow, my daughter's wanting to bake, or one wants to start a little beauty business. And then the mom's like, and there's this book I've been wanting to write. Now I'm going to write it. And it's like, it doesn't have to be any big grand thing, but it's just the little seed, and that's how the Nourished Girls Project started, was just a little seed that Nylah and I one day were like, we should do something together. And a lot of my work is about nourishment made simple. And I was like, what about the Nourished Girls Project? And what if we do it together? And she's like, oh, she lit up. She's like, yeah. And the seed was kind of planted just by having that kind of, I guess, tug from the universe or whatever you want to call it,
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. Yeah.
All right. It's joy. It's fun. It's all about and following that, because all too much, in the all seriousness of, being a mom, being a parent, especially in this time, I think a little bit of the joy factor goes a long way. Sometimes feels impossible, but it goes a long way to have the little nugget.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's for sure. Little joy definitely goes a long way. And I love that your co-founder of the Nourished Girls Project is your daughter, because how special, this something that you're doing that is already really special and helping the community and helping others, but it's that much more fun and amazing that you get to do it with your daughter. So why don't you tell us a little bit more about what the Nourished Girls Project is?
Yeah, so it's still in development, right? Because I feel like as soon as we're doing so many more things, it's like, oh, what is this? What is this? What is this? So it's obviously still always going to be in development. But what it is right now is it's a project, it's a movement really, of, really empowering and inspiring preteen and teen girls to live their joy, to be kindness activists to themselves and others, and really be in their confidence, be them, and dream big, be unapologetically them. And we right now, with, we had our summer camp, and then we're doing some camp extensions. We also have, with the seed that was planted, an interesting thing happened. My daughter, she was standing by a card deck that we draw from every day. It's like an inspirational deck. And she just looked at me and she goes, Mom, this was in the end of 2018. She said, Mom, what if we made a card deck for girls my age? And I was like, wow, that'd be cool. And we sat down a couple of days later and I said, well, let's start painting. We start using watercolor. Let's see what you got. And her first card that she painted said, it was of a girl who had her hands on her hips with this crown on. The crown said DWJ. And it was a girl, and it said, I am determined with joy.
Wow.
And her crown said DWJ. And then I was like, holy smokes. And then the second card was of an earth and a girl. And it said, it only takes one person to change the world. And so with that, I knew, okay, this is happening. And we got 16 girls together. I think it was over 6 art experiences, and created a 52 card deck of all their inspirational quotes. They're ages 8 to 11. They were ages 8 to 11 at the time, and all their own art. And we, obviously have that for purchase. And then we give back a percentage of our sales profits to Girl Up Initiative Uganda, who helps girls with empowerment and, safer period products and all kinds of stuff. So it's just a ripple effect from one of the products that we have right now.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
That is crazy. And that's a really neat story, because, that's really insightful of your daughter to want to even start or put the deck together. And then, that's a pretty deep thought from, I guess if she was 11 or whatever, even younger at the time.
Yeah, she was 9. Now she's 9. No,
yeah.
It's wild.
It is wild, and it's great. And it's, kudos to you for continuing to make that flourish within her and, water that seed within her and allow her to do that. That's amazing. Because I do think, what you said about, teaching girls or helping girls to be in their confidence and to dream big. Just in my exposure to not only my own children, but some other girls that are, teenage girls at this time, and having been a teenage girl myself, I do think that it's a tough age between like middle school and, to almost the end of high school. It is, girls really falter. And even the girls with the most confidence, they question themselves. They question, if they're good enough, or they think that they're not, and something happens, and then all of a sudden, they back off. And it's such a pivotal time in their lives where they really don't believe in themselves enough. Maybe some of them do, but it's not enough. They are capable of so much more than they believe themselves to be. And I know as a mom and being a coach, I'm constantly on my kids, all of them, about, all we talk about mindset and emotion and, that kind of stuff, and focusing on what thoughts you're having in your head and why that's important, and why it's important to switch them when they're not the right ones. But it's still not easy. I can talk to them about that all day long, but until they believe it and put it in practice, just like adults, they're not going to change how their own emotions or their outcomes. So I do think it's important for a third party, for an outside source, whether it's a coach or a teacher or, an organization like the Nourished Girls Project, to be there for them in this critical time in their life so that they can get some outside validation, not just from mom, but to understand what exactly they're capable of and how amazing they are, and teach them to dream big and teach them to be confident in their skill sets.
Oh my gosh, totally. And everything you said, I got chills, because it is such a intersection time right now between them being little and big.
Yeah.
And cultivating. And that's why I think over with the summer camp and just being in creating connection, collaborating with these girls was magical. Seriously, I was like, it's not about the loudest girl who's talking. And it's about like you're a gift. You're special. You're the only you. You know what I mean? It's just amazing what inspired girls inspire girls, inspired women. That doesn't mean that you're inspired rah all the time.
Right.
It's just like I said, like breaking it down to there's these real moments. You can talk mindset and soaking your grains and eating all gluten-free and natural all day.
Right.
But if you're, not able to really cultivate that within yourself. And so I feel so privileged and honored to be doing this with my daughter, and also to be able to just be honored to be with these moms and these grownups and these girls, showing them what else is possible when the girls come together and dream big and live their joy. Because you can see it unfolding in front of us, even over the Zoom. They're lighting up. They're drawing these pictures. They're like, I love animals. I'm going to start helping the da-da-da. So many things were created because it was just this like connection piece and this cultivating piece, and knowing it was possible is amazing. And I just feel so honored to be part of it.
So have you had to shift the model of sort of what you do because of the pandemic? And, was that a challenge for you?
Yeah. Interesting enough, I've been working, my private clients, I've been working this whole time for years virtually. So nothing shifted fully in that way. But I will say the challenge was, because I used to do a lot of in-person talks and, just I love it. I love meeting people. I love, like yourself, I love talking to people. And so the in-person piece obviously was cut. And so the challenge though was how to get mom's attention, girls' attention, because everybody is zoomed out. You're hearing this. You're like, listen, I want to talk to you, but I am zoomed out.
Yes, totally.
I want my daughter to do this free summer camp, but she's zoomed out. So I'm like, good news. It's an hour. It's recorded. It's not all day. So it was coming up with how can I get the tension in an authentic way and be able to just come together. You know what I mean? And also,
yes.
I'll be honest with you, is I'm walking the walk myself.
Yeah.
I'm also a busy mom with a child now, and my husband, who is in medical sales, but now he works from home doing sales. He's a sales director. So our whole life has changed too.
Yeah.
So it's also about, okay, Amy, what are you doing to fill your energy bank?
Right.
What are you doing to give yourself grace when the day just can really just suck? You know what I mean? Like, what's going on here? You know what I mean? And being really authentic. So the challenge is every day, like, finding those anchors, finding those, those little moments, and knowing that there will be a shift when it's hard. There will be a shift.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah. And I think, I'm sure every single one of my listeners on here today, and myself, I mean, we all have those moments probably throughout every single day when I think to myself, oh my gosh, how am I going to get everything done? And then having grace when I realize I'm not going to get it done. And just being okay with, like, for me, took me a while to be okay with the new pace of the pandemic and my new reality with all of these kids home and what our new life looked like. And it wasn't just about, okay, they're off to school and then me and I work, and then they come home. And then, so now it was like, okay, well, how am I finding, time to do what I find passion, for, and what brings me joy and fills my energy bank. And that was a struggle. And, it really still is, because our schedules keep changing. They're in school, they're not in school, they're home, they're not home.
Oh, yeah.
This activity is on, this activity is off, whatever. So it has been a challenge. But I do think that, again, just staying present in our daily lives and having habits, that help you to stay anchored in your present, certainly helps.
Yes,
So,
and any way also to stay connected, right? With anything that, I think, just speaking into the mom's piece right now, just because I'm totally authentically relating to you, is kind of like, I would say, if you're on your walk, extend it 2 minutes. Sit down on the concrete, put your feet down, like 2 minutes to just have the heart rate come down and be like, all right, I'm walking in that door a little differently than I walked out. Do you know what I mean? So it's like about just extending the 2 minute shower, 2 minute walk, drinking your tea a little slower. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's the moments, because some days, let's face it, it is a total, we don't know what's going to be showing up right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, absolutely. I love that. I think that's amazing advice, to just, even if it is 2 minutes, just take that little bit of extra time for yourself, because it's not easy. And I feel like not everybody allows that time for themselves, but it does make a huge difference, for sure.
Well, and the other thing I'll speak to real quick is that in the whole reality of everything right now, everybody is going here. It's a different pace. It's just a whole different thing going on globally, right? We all have that in common. Everything is just different, where I felt like, okay, what's next? I have the Nourished Girls Project. I work with, busy moms and moms, work the families, but I was having a lot of moms, especially after summer camp, come to me and be like, holy cow, my daughter in literally 2 weeks went from not a preteen to a preteen. What can I do? She's totally in puberty. What's happening? It was like, almost, so I was like, I feel obligated also, because I have a preteen, to do the research. What pads would I have her use? What books am I reading? And so it's like being relevant in obviously where I'm at in my life with my preteen, but also like no one has a lot of extra capacity and time right now. So it's like, okay, here's a guide, check it out. Or here's this, you know what I mean? So just really be in service of what I was hearing other moms kind of needing.
Yeah, that's amazing. So with the Nourished Girls Project, I know you have, like you mentioned, the card deck, the inspirational card deck, and I believe you have summer camps. Yeah. So what other programs do you do, or what is the main focus? How do you inspire confidence and joy in these teenagers? Because I feel that's like the key to the kingdom right there.
Oh my God. I know, right? That's like it is. It really is exactly what you're saying. So we have the summer camp, and then after summer camp, we've had summer camp extension. So we've been meeting every month with a group of some of the summer campers, some that were out, We meet every month. And then my daughter and I put together like a little digital course that it was like a 10-minute 3-module. It was just more for fun.
Yeah.
So that they could stay, again, connection. It's such a big theme and topic, to stay connected in between. And also I work with moms and daughters.
Yeah.
So, in more of my private clients is that, I typically will have a mom reach out and be like, hey, my daughter's going through this. Next thing you know, you're talking to them about the daughter, but really we're talking about them and we're talking about the everything, and everyone just starts feeling better. So we're building out. I will say that we will be having another summer camp. The dates are still to be determined. I'll know a little bit more about those in January. And another couple things are in the mix. So, stay tuned, because there's some things that I am, again, as I'm listening, seeing what's needing to be kind of like more co-created is all kind of happening.
Right. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And I think, the one thing that you touched on about connection, I think that's definitely something that, is, I just constantly, I'm such a deep thinker that I'm always thinking about, like, okay, with my kids and how, their social lives have been diminished severely. And I have 2 that are in high school, which are like pivotal years for developing your social person, right? How do you, they're 2 girls. So how do you interact with boys, dances, whatever. All these things that are part of normal life that aren't happening right now. And and even the fact that when you're on lockdown or you're quarantined, you're home. And so your connection, even with your friends, yes, thank God they have FaceTime and they have Zooms, and, for me, I feel it as an adult, but, I feel like I can handle it. I'm busy worrying about them and feeding them and going about my job as a mom. Of course, I would love to see my friends, and I do definitely make time for myself to find that connection, because I know how important it is to me. But they don't understand how important it is to them, because they're only teenagers. So they're just going about their lives and doing what they think they're supposed to be doing. Meanwhile, I'm sitting here worried about them not socializing and not being out and about and not going through these rite of passage events like dances and that sort of thing, because I think that's part of how you create your character, how you socialize, how you grow up and mature and learn how to have a conversation with people. So, that connection is severely lost. And I think it's important to find outlets like, the Nourished Girls Project and other outlets that you can still create connection, just in a different way.
So with you saying that, I again got chills, because I feel exactly the same. And so there is that piece between getting that community with the Nourished Girls Project, right? To like get together the girls. It's their own, they love to have their own little space, right? It's like the teens and preteens and teens, they have their own space. And sometimes we break them into age groups, because let's be honest, a 10-year-old is going to be way different than a 14-year-old, right?
Sure.
So
absolutely.
It's like totally different, but it's also the moms.
Yeah.
So that's the thing I'm really been, playing around with a lot of, okay, what does this look like? Because let me tell you, we moms are like, listen, we are missing it too. What I mean? So like I said, there's some things on the horizon. And as you're talking, I'm again getting that download of like, okay, there's more here, with like connecting the moms, the daughters, like just being in that connection, because I feel it too. It has definitely been a challenge.
Yeah. And I've said this before on podcasts. I created Suburban Warrior to create connection with suburban warriors, with moms, because I felt pre-pandemic that I felt like moms lived in our bubbles, right? We see each other and we're in passing, and we talk to each other on sidelines at games, or, we have a quick little conversation in the grocery stores. But the bottom line is that there's so much going on in all of our lives that we need to create a deeper connection with each other. We need to talk about what's going on and how to get through it and really authentically connect. And that was pre-pandemic. And now I'm like, oh my God, do we need to connect with each other and share our ideas and share our ups and our downs and our challenges and our strengths so that, we can all help each other and get through it all together.
Yeah, in a way that is not that you can just be, like you said, authentic and real. Because I think a lot of time it's like, all right, we're grateful, we got this, everything's this. And it's like, no, it can be a both and. It can be you know what, this is freaking hard. Yeah. And I'm grateful that I, have a home,
absolutely,
food, or whatever it may be. So it's a both and. And I'm thinking, you and I need to talk offline because, hey, you never know here. We're both like, yeah, what do we got to do? Let's get these moms.
Exactly. Let's create connection, bring joy. I love it.
So I love it.
So, okay, well, tell me about, obviously I'll have information on how to connect with you in the show notes. And I know that you have a free offering. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah. So come from the summer camp again, everyone's reaching out going, my preteen's in puberty or my teen, what's up with periods? And so I decided, wow, I need to know a little bit more about this just personally too. So the free offering I have right now is called, it's a free resource guide. It's kind of like a healthy get ready guide. And it's full of things I have researched that I would personally use or recommend. Now, the resource list is still going to be, we're going to be adding to it as I find out more goodies, but it's like products, like books, organic, let's say period products, feel good things, services. So it's like kind of like if you're feeling like, I'm not ready, you just get this free guide. It's at least going to be like, all right, bam, bam, bam. I at least know where to get this and this. And it's just, it was created with the intention of knowing there's not a lot of time and this will add complete ease. So I'm happy to offer that as a free guide to all your listeners. So it's amazing. And in fact, the company I found out about, Top Organic, is like, now I'm like, how did I not know that this period product existed? It's no plastic at all. They're a mom and daughter run business. It's incredible. So I feel like I'm learning about things that I'm just so excied about. And I'm not even thinking.
Right. No, absolutely. Oh my gosh, please. I mean, I'm constantly learning new things and wondering like, why did we do it the old way? Like, why did we not know about this for until now? So that's wonderful. I think that is an amazing resource, to your point, not only for, adolescent teens, but for moms as well. So that will be, I'll have that in the show notes that they can click on and check that out. Where else can they find you?
So you can find me on the nourishedgirlsproject.com, and most all the, the period guides there that we just talked about, if you want to get more information and I offer a free call, you can go ahead and reach out to me there, but that's where you can find me right now. Awesome. I'm integrating. I had an older website. My business was called Busy Bee Nutrition because I, for 10 plus years as a nutrition educator. And now we're trying to integrate it all into the Nourished Girls Project, nourish our moms, nourish our girls. It's all being a little bit integrated.
I love it. That's amazing. It's amazing. Well, I think you're doing some amazing work and important work. And I think that, all of you who are listening right now should absolutely, if you have a daughter, but even if you don't, for yourself, check out the Nourished Girls Project, because I think you have a lot of great resources to offer. And really, I just love the way that you approach the business. I love the way that you think about empowering moms and girls. And I think that is what is so important, to all of us, all of our lives right now, being a mom and really empowering their emotional wellness, because I think right now in our lives, we all need it. Yeah, so thank you for all that you're doing, Amy. I really appreciate it.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. And I really appreciate you having me on your podcast today. It's been really great getting to know you, and I'm so happy to just be here. So I want to thank you very much.
Oh, you are so welcome. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of Suburban Warrior. Check out Amy at the Nourished Girls Project online, and we will talk to you next time. Warrior up and believe in you.